4 o'clock. ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
California is expecting an increase in its supply of COVID-19 vaccines, but right now we are dealing with that shortage. How the state plans to catch up with the slow rollout. Plus, youth sports will soon be returning to some parts of the state. The improvements needed for San Diego County before youth sports can happen here. And the first small group of asylum seekers crossing into the U.S. from San Ysidro. What's next for them?
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
And good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson. I am joined remotely by my co-anchor Lindsay Pena. We'll be checking in with her shortly. But first, despite a shortage of COVID-19 vaccines and the temporary closure of some vaccine sites, California teachers are celebrating a small victory after Governor Gavin Newsom announced they can get vaccinated next month. This news comes as the state's supply is expected to increase. Our ABC 10 News reporter Leah Pizzetti has more on California's improving situation.
The only constraint now is manufactured supply.
Friday, Governor Gavin Newsom saying supply of the vaccine is the current roadblock, which they hope to overcome soon. He tweeted California's forecast for allotment through the next 3 weeks, saying, quote, modest increases every week, good news, and we're ready for more when they have it. While Sharp, Chula Vista, and Grossmont have open Pfizer appointments this weekend, places like Petco Park have none and are paused.
Certainly there is a lot more demand than there is supply.
Dr. Christian Ramers with Family Health Centers of San Diego says the delays this weekend are due to major weather throughout the country, but he says these state predictions should be on track.
I think the projections are going to get a little bit more accurate. It's been a big complaint of vaccinators like us and like people running the larger sites that it's very hard to plan when we just don't have a good expectation of what's going to come.
San Diego County is still waiting on more than 50,000 missed doses, which are expected by the end of next week. The governor also announcing that 10% of vaccines will be set aside for teachers.
Beginning with a baseline of 75,000 doses every single week that will be made available and set aside for those educators and childcare workers that are supporting our efforts to get our kids back into in-person instruction.
All of this coming the same day Pfizer submitted findings to the FDA, saying the ultra-cold freezers may not be necessary and one dose may be good enough. But for now, Dr. Ramers says people should stick to the 21 or 28-day second dose with some wiggle room up to 42 days as research continues on single-dose effectiveness.
You know, the science evolves and it changes and there's more information out there.
Leah Pizzetti, ABC 10 News.
And the county said late today that they do expect to get their delayed vaccine doses by the end of next week. In the next few weeks, we will know if the Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccine will be approved. And we want to let you know that there are a large number of vaccination appointments available at 2 locations this weekend. Slots are open tomorrow and Sunday for both the Chula Vista Superstation and the Grossmont Superstation in La Mesa. Sharp officials say about 3,000 appointments are available for each day at each site. Those vaccines being administered, they are from Pfizer. First and second doses will be available. So to schedule an appointment, go to the county's website. And a reminder, only those who meet the necessary criteria right now can receive the vaccine. As of today, nearly 534,000 people in San Diego County have been vaccinated for COVID-19. More than 174,000 have been fully vaccinated, meaning 6% of the local population has received both shots.
I can't give you a date when this crisis will end, but I can tell you we're doing everything possible to have that day come sooner rather than later.
That was President Joe Biden today, traveling to Michigan, where he toured a Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine plant. There, he addressed the shipment delays caused by those massive winter storms in the Midwest and Texas. In all, about 6 million doses have been delayed. The White House is now working to make up for the lost ground.
We're asking vaccine administration sites to extend their hours even further. We will make up for it in the coming weeks.
And the administration is also asking sites to add more appointments to help catch up on vaccinations.
After mounting pressure, California is loosening the rules for youth sports. But it will still be a little while before San Diego County sees a change. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala has a breakdown of the new rules.
I'm just so happy because we love kids and we were able to achieve a good outcome for kids. Torrey Pines High School football coach Ron Gladnick breathing a sigh of relief Friday. Extensive efforts to get youth sports back by coaches across the state and the group Let Them Play California have finally paid off. Governor Gavin Newsom announcing outdoor youth sports can resume starting next Friday under certain conditions.
We're moving through using data, using science, using other people's experience, still with caution.
The California Department of Public Health outlines the specific guidelines. To qualify, counties must have a COVID-19 adjusted daily case rate at or below 14 per 100,000 residents. San Diego County isn't quite there yet. As of Thursday, we're sitting at 22 cases per 100,000 people. But Coach Gladnick is hopeful we could be at 14 by next Friday.
I had a long conversation with Nathan Fletcher this morning. We are dropping an average of 10 to 15 cases per 100,000 a week. From the county supervisor's perspective and county health, they don't see any reason that those trends are not going to continue.
The new guidance applies to all organized outdoor youth sports and recreation, including school and community-sponsored programs, privately organized clubs and leagues, and adult recreational sports. It does not apply to collegiate or professional sports, community events like marathons, half marathons, and endurance races. For high-contact sports like football, soccer, rugby, water polo, and boys or men's lacrosse, the state is requiring COVID-19 testing of players 13 and older and coaches. The state says it will pay for and provide the tests. Low and moderate contact sports will not require testing. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
Because San Diego County hasn't reached the case rate threshold of 14 per 100,000 people, only outdoor low-contact sports are allowed for now, such as cross-country, golf, and swimming. We do have a full list of the latest guidelines on our website, 10news.com. And here are the latest numbers for San Diego County. 812 new cases were reported today, bringing the total to more than 255,000. And there were 34 new deaths, bringing that total to more than 3,100. House Democrats took another step toward advancing Joe Biden's coronavirus relief plan. Today, they released the full bill text for the $1.9 trillion package. It includes increasing the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, giving a one-time direct payment of $1,400 to Americans making less than $75,000 a year. It also includes money for small businesses struggling amid the pandemic and an extension of $400 federal unemployment benefits. And you can follow any developments surrounding the pandemic by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
A major shift in immigration policy kicked off today in San Ysidro. 25 migrants previously forced to wait in Mexico for their asylum case. They were allowed into the U.S., but critics are calling this move a mistake. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo is at the border breaking down what happened today.
The policy ends 2 years of the Trump administration's Remain in Mexico policy that was put in place to make migrants wait for their asylum court hearing in Mexico out of fear that if they were let into the country, they would not show up for their day in court. Early this morning, 25 migrants entered the U.S. at the San Ysidro port of entry, marking the first change of Biden's immigration policy.
The sentiment over the last 2 years that the program's been in effect has been really one of desperation.
The 25 migrants accepted into the country today are temporarily staying in a San Diego hotel and not in a shelter because of the pandemic, receiving shelter services, legal support, and other services from the San Diego Rapid Response Network Migrant Shelter Services. This man from Honduras saying he's been waiting for 2 years in Mexico with his family for their asylum hearing. All of the immigrants are processed and tested for COVID-19 before they're accepted into the U.S. The Biden administration plans on accepting 25 people every day from the MPP program, Monday through Friday.
Now there is a lot of hope. People feel like they are coming to the end of a long, dark night. We as advocates remain cautious.
Late Friday, Congressman Darrell Issa reacting to the news, calling the policy reversal, quote, one of the most reckless and ill-conceived actions in recent history, saying it is fair to ask those seeking admittance into the U.S. to wait in line, calling it both a domestic disaster and foreign policy failure. The next group of migrants will be processed and allowed into the country on Monday. In San Ysidro, Castro, Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
Former NFL player Kellen Winslow Jr. has agreed to change his plea deal in an ongoing sexual assault case. Winslow was convicted of multiple charges, including forcible rape back in 2019. This morning, the former NFL player withdrew his original guilty plea in favor of a lesser charge of assault with attempt to commit rape. Instead of life in prison, Winslow is now looking at spending 14 years behind bars. His sentencing is scheduled for March 3rd.
The winter weather is still making life miserable in parts of the U.S. In Texas, cars lined up for miles at water distribution sites. Most people now have their power back, but more than 14 million are dealing with disrupted water supply. Meantime, Senator Ted Cruz continues to face backlash for traveling to Cancun with his family while his constituents struggled in the bitter cold. He spoke to our affiliate in Houston.
In hindsight, if I'd understood how it would be perceived, the reaction people would have, obviously I wouldn't have done it. It was a mistake.
Temperatures are expected to warm up this weekend. We're starting to see the first pictures coming in from the new rover that landed on Mars yesterday. They include the first color image from the planet 128 million miles away. As ABC's Alex Stone reports, scientists say the landing couldn't have gone any smoother.
New incredible images in from the surface of Mars. Teams at NASA and California's Jet Propulsion Laboratory releasing the highest resolution pictures ever seen from the red planet.
This is our first color front HazCam image and our first color image from the surface of Mars.
And this moment just before touchdown as Perseverance was gliding toward the surface. The rover, equipped with 23 cameras and during its lifespan will be snapping photos of the other world. When Perseverance touched down on Thursday, it was celebration in mission control.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life.
And liftoff. Perseverance had traveled 300 million miles for 7 months, moving at 50,000 miles an hour during its journey. Then, in what was known as a 7 minutes of terror, the craft had to battle 2,300-degree heat, making entry into the Martian atmosphere.
9 successful landings on Mars. The only nation that's been able to do that. Just incredible.
President Biden watching the landing from the White House, shortly afterwards calling the NASA acting administrator.
Hello, Mr. President. Well, I will tell Percy you said hello, sir.
But now the real work begins. Perseverance will try to find signs of microbial life in the ancient riverbed where it landed. And Perseverance will conduct tests for eventual human flight to Mars. It'll try to make oxygen on the planet, and will even fly a small helicopter to see how stable flight works in the thin Martian atmosphere. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.